Good evening and welcome to Sports 24/7. I'm Abhishek Bhide. With me, I have Ritwik Patil again. Welcome back, Ritwik.
Hello, good evening.
And as usual, we have Pranav Ranade. This is one of the biggest test series of the calendar year, and actually for India, uh, along with playing in Australia, this is the biggest sort of foreign test series or test series which we are playing on foreign soil. Plus, it is a five test series, which is rare. We usually do not play five test series. Yes, you have guessed it right. It is India versus England. So before we actually get into the preview of this series and talking about the squads and the technical aspects, I'd like to ask both of you. India has been going to England quite regularly now. Every 3-4 years, we have a tour there. So, what are your earliest memories, or what is your favorite memory? We have not too many great memories in England, but still, starting with Ritwik.
Yeah, good evening. My favorite memory of India's tour of England would be the 2007 tour, in which we won the series 1-0. And it's my favorite memory because it was the only time when our big four, that is Sachin, Rahul Dravid, Saurav Ganguly, and VVS Lakshman, won a series in England. And the most interesting thing about that series is that Anil Kumble was the only batsman from both the side who scored 100. So which is a unique fact because all other great batsmen, they failed to score a century, and it was India's leg spinning bowler Kumble who scored a century. And even Zahir Khan was terrific in that series. And so it was my favorite memory, and it is more special because after the World Cup disaster, Indian team made a great comeback on a difficult tour of England. So definitely it has to be the best memory in the recent times.
Absolutely. And I agree with you. A couple of points to take away from what Ritwik said, Pranav. Firstly, about Anil Kumble being a leg spin bowler. And secondly, I think Ritwik said that Anil Kumble scored a century, very rightly so. And Zahir Khan was superb during that series. But the man of the match or the man of the series was actually Steve Buckner for India for not giving Zahir Khan LBW in the first Test match against Monty Panesar, which where we managed to save that test, won the second test, and drew the third test to win the series 1-0. And Pranav, how about your favorite England memory?
My favorite England memory is the 2014 lost Test match. The first Test match, we India managed to save that Test match by batting gutsily in the second innings. And in second Test match, India were in big trouble. They were, I think, 124-6, something like that. And after that, Ajinkya and Bhuvaneshwar, they had a brilliant partnership. And Ajinkya's century took India to past 300, after which once you get 300 in the first innings, most of the matches are won by the batting team. After that, Ishan Sharma had his plan B working on that final day, where he only bowled short pitch deliveries, and all of England batsmen only hooked them to manage them into fielders' hands. So it's a great memory for me because we were not even in a match saving position after tea time on first day, but we managed to win the test match.
Yes, probably Ajinkya Rahane is one of his top three innings, you can say, in international cricket. And we actually got the lead in that series. Unfortunately, we went on to lose the series 3-1. Uh, my favorite memory I'd like to share with both of you and also our audience is 2002 series. We played a test match, the third test, I think it was at
Yeah.
Leeds, Headingley. And first test we had lost badly at Lords. The second one, I think at Trent Bridge, we managed to save. And third test match going in, we batted first, and Sanjay Bangar and Rahul Dravid, they played for a long time and sort of stuck in there. And when we took the third new ball, actually, Sachin and Saurav were batting, and the light was offered to them, but they refused to, stop, and they said we'll continue batting. And after that, Sachin, in his own style, which only he can do, charging the fast bowlers and hitting them over mid wicket, Andy Caddick and Alex Tudor. So that was the last thing. I think he got some 180 odd Sachin in that innings. And Saurav and Rahul Dravid also scoring 100. So that is my memory. We went on to win that test match as well. Sticking to Leeds, this time we are playing in this series. We are playing a test match in at Leeds after a long time. But I want to take both of you slightly back in history and last three series. 2011, 2014, and 2018, we have been losing, and losing quite badly. Especially in 2011, it was a whitewash. In 2014, first two test matches we competed, but then we sort of faded away in the last three test matches. And the last series, especially wanted to focus on the last series because the scoreline says 4-1, but we could have actually won it 3-2.
Yeah.
The test match at Edgbaston and the fourth test match at Southampton. So Pranav, how do you see this? This time they're saying that this is the best chance for the Indian team.
Yes, because most of the players in this Indian squad, they have toured England for at least 3 times. If I'm not wrong, this is Ishan Sharma's fourth England tour. So they have a pretty vast experience of English conditions, and I don't think these players will be available for selection in the next England tour. So these players must consider this as their last chance. These 5 test matches. Talking of the last tour, it was a plethora of missed chances for India, and they would dearly like to rectify those chances and hopefully go on and win the series.
Yes, absolutely. And talking about the last series, we were discussing that it was a close series, and pretty much if you see both the squads, especially the Indian squad, there aren't too many changes. Maybe a few changes here and there, and also the English bowling lineup is pretty much the same with addition of couple of bowlers. And the batting, yes, English batting has changed slightly. So I'd like to focus more on the England side first, Ritwik. Coming to you, how do you see their batting? Because they have a couple of new guys or two or three new batsmen in there. So do you think that these batsmen will be under pressure to perform and also book their spot for the upcoming Ashes series?
Yes, definitely. I would say England batting is not as strong as in the earlier series, but these new guys like Dominic Sibley, Rory Burns, Ollie Pope, they will be challenging for their places in the Ashes series. Plus, additionally, they have Joe Root, who always scores heavily against India, and we should not forget that they have two of their big batsmen. That is, sorry,
Johnny Besto and
yeah, Johnny Bairstow and Josh Butler.
Joss
So
Butler.
these two, they usually score pretty quickly, and they can take away the game in a session or two. So we should not underestimate England team in their own conditions. And again, their lower order, they contribute heavily. So Sam Curran, Ollie Robinson, they are pretty decent batsmen. So this is the main difference between India and England. That is their lower order contribution.
Right. Talking about the lower order, Pranav, firstly, let's talk about the top order. Ritwik mentioned Dominic Sibley and Rory Burns. Pranav, they are not, we both know that they are not the most elegant batsmen in the world, but they are effective, especially Rory Burns. He's had a run of good scores of late. So he might be someone who could be difficult to dislodge. And then, as Ritwik mentioned, Joe Root, obviously the key man. Most importantly for England, or rather for India, Ben Stokes not being available. Apart from his performances, is there a psychological impact which that might create?
I don't think so. Actually, India will be a bit relieved that Ben Stokes is not available for selection, but that does not weaken the English side because they have plenty of options for every position in the playing 11. So, as you mentioned, the openers, they are not quite attractive in their batting style, but I think their main job is to just nullify the new ball and allow players like attacking players like Josh Butler and Johnny Bairstow to simply run through the ballers. So I think, as Ritwik mentioned, Joe Root is their biggest strength, but we must not forget the middle order, the lower middle order, and the tail end, which they can score at least 4 to 4.5 runs per over. So they can easily take game away from India.
And in talking about that, Pranav, the last series at Southampton and at Edgbaston, the two test matches which we lost by a sort of a lesser margin or close test matches. We were chasing 194 in Birmingham, we couldn't get there, and 245 we couldn't chase. Both those matches, Sam Curran played crucial knocks of 60 to 70 runs. So we have to have a plan. We have seen coming to the next point through this point actually, and we have seen our bowlers struggle to dislodge number 7, number 8, and even in the World Test Championship we saw Jamieson score some runs against us. So what do you think, Ritwik, our bowlers have to do? I have noticed that they somehow change their bowling approach when they bowl to number 7 and 8, rather than just sticking to line and length. When they go for one or two boundaries, they just start bowling short or start bowling too full. So what do you think our bowlers need to do, Ritwik?
According to me, our bowlers need to ball stump to stump, that is pretty wicket to wicket, and we should straight away hand the ball to Bumrah, because I think he is the one guy who can easily clean up the tail, because he has a pretty good Yorker as well as a pretty good bouncer. But I think he should stick to the Yorker against the lower order, because lower order batsmen are not pretty good in their technique. So I think Bumrah can be pretty effective against tailenders.
Last time we saw Pranav Sam Karan really taking to Ashwin, and he came down the track and hit Ashwin, and it sort of looked like our bowlers were kind of helpless when runs start flowing. Suddenly the field spreads after a couple of boundaries. So, do you think there is a need for change in the approach towards this, because that's where we lost the last series actually?
Yes, I think there is some psychological issue with Indian team when it comes to scores like opposition scores like 154-6 or 154-7. The captain and the whole team, they slightly tend to be tentative after that, and after which the Indian team considers at least 4 to 5 runs per hour. All the things which they need to do is just ball to a to wicket, as Rutvik mentioned, and just ball normally as they ball to the top order. So that's what is to be done. And to me, just we have to place inside out type of field, so that we also save boundaries and sixes, and we also have few men in the attacking position. So just play normally. Don't think that they are going to score 100 runs for the last 4 wickets, and just bowl wicket to wicket. That's it.
Right. And also, we need from our batting, coming to our batting now, our top order, especially the openers. I was looking at some stats presented by Harsha Bogle, and he was saying that our last 100 opening partnership in SENA countries, which is South Africa, England, Australia, New Zealand, it came in 2011, 10 years back.
Yeah.
So last 10 years, we haven't even had a 100 opening partnership, which is a huge stat. And this time we have Rohit Sharma, who's opening in England for the first time. This is only second test match after the World Test Championship. And his partner, we still don't know who his partner is going to be. Is it going to be a debut for Abhimanyu Iswaran, or is it going to be KL Rahul, who was told that you will be now playing in the middle order, but because of Mayank's concussion, Gill's injury, is he going to be brought back, or is it going to be Shaw or Ritwik? How do you see this?
I think it will be KL Rahul, because they won't be shifting Pujara or any other player at the top of the order, because opening the batting in England is a specialist job, and I think Rahul is used to opening the batting, but not in England, but in other conditions. So I think Rahul will open the batting in England tomorrow, and recently scored 100 in the warm-up game. So I think he should be pretty good to go. And we should not forget that in the last tour of England in 2018, he scored 100 at Oval. So he has the runs in his bank in on the England tour. So he should be pretty confident to open the batting in England.
Right. So if you look at it that way, Pranav, last time when Rahul batted in England in a Test match, he scored a century in that second innings in Oval, where we I think lost by 60, 70 runs, but we still gave a good fight, good chase. So Pranav, the key area now that which I feel is going to define whether we lose this series or win this series is our number 3, 4, and 5. Cheteshwar Pujara, if he plays all the Test matches, then Virat Kohli and Ajinkya Rahane. What do you think their approach needs to be, because they have not been successful in the last 2, 3 years in international tours, especially England, South Africa, Australia, these countries, New Zealand?
I think Pujara should slightly modify his approach. We always see that he spends 2 hours at the crease. He always plays 100 balls. He does not get out on either first, second, or 10th ball. But the problem is that after facing 100 balls, he just scores 8 or 10 runs. So after that, maybe his concentration slightly goes down, and he just gifts his wicket. And same is the case with Ajinkya. I think he leaves certain balls, good balls, but he has that tendency to just poke at few deliveries, which takes the outside edge, and most of them carry to the third slip or gully. So I think Virat Kohli is talking about Kohli. It's okay. He scored 500 plus runs in last tour, and so he proved himself. But it's really time now for Ajinkya and Pujara to just increase their levels and at least have an average of 45 plus in this series.
And Pranav, is it also the case that, as you mentioned, Puja's strike rate, when bowlers are bowling to him, they are slightly less worried because they know that they can keep bowling and he might stay at the wicket. But sooner or later, you're going to get a delivery which you edge or which goes through your defense for LBW or bold. But they don't have the pressure of bowling to Pujara as they might have for Kohli or even Rishabh Pant, because they know that if Kohli or Pant stay for 100 balls, they will score 40, 50 runs, Pant even more. So is that a psychologically easier sort of approach for the bowlers?
Absolutely, that's what happened. In the World Test Championships, Rohit and Gill, they got 63 runs in, I think, just 1.5 hours. So India was actually cruising at 3.5 runs per over. Suddenly, 2 wickets fell, and the run rate was simply down to 2 runs. So the bowlers were very much relaxed when Pujara came to the crease. He is a really good batsman, and I am actually hoping that he kind of plays the 2018 Australian Tour types of knocks. And I'm really craving for him as well as Ajinkya, because these two are right now on the edge, and this tour is like do or die for both of them.
And there have been guys, there have been strange rumors coming in from England. There have been certain things said in the media or leaked to the media, or some ex cricketers also saying a few things that Pujara and Ajinkya, there is a lot of additional pressure on them to perform. And also Kohli had mentioned that we need the right personnel for the right job. So sort of few indirect messages going to the players, Ritwik.
Yeah, definitely. There will be a lot of pressure on Pujara and Rahane, because we should not forget that Surya Kumar Yadav and Prithvi Shaw, they have already landed in England and completing their quarantine. So uh, if we see Surya Kumar Yadav's stats, he's a all format player. So definitely he'll be raring to go in England once he gets the chance. So my feeling is that he should at least get one test in England if Pujara or Rahane, they fail to score runs. So definitely I'll be looking forward to Surya Kumar Yadav's innings in England.
Pranav, coming to the Indian bowling, Ishant Sharma looked a little bit flat, especially in the second innings versus New Zealand in the World Test Championship final. But will you still go with him to start with, along with Shami and Ishant, or Indian bowling? How do you see this, and what will be your playing 11 for the first test?
No, I think inclusion of Siraj instead of Ishant makes sense, because Siraj has fresh legs, he has fresh energy, and he has the confidence of three tests under his belt, five actually, three in the Australia. We saw Ishant, he was kind of exhausted and burnt out in the WTC finals. Uh, Nothing against him, he has played 100 plus test matches for India, and with due respect to him, but right now it's important for India to take the early lead in the series just to maintain the pressure on England. And Siraj seems to be the more wicket taking option, more reliable option, and kind of a workhorse option more than Ishan Sharma. So more or less the team would be same as that of World Championships, except that Shubman Gill is injured, so KL Rahul would come instead of him. And I would still want Ashwin Jadeja both to play tomorrow's test match. And just instead of Ishant, I would play Siraj. And rest all 9 players would be same for me.
And also, Pranav and Ritwik, we have seen that in the second half of the English summer, which is August and September, uh, which is now pretty much, the pitches seem to get slower and a little bit drier, and the spinners do come into
Yep.
it. So, Ritwik, do you agree with Pranav that to start with two spinners, three fast bowlers, and six batsmen, including Rishabh Pant?
Yeah, definitely. Because if we see in recent times, the weather has been good in England, and there has been a lot of cricket played over all over the England, because there is a 100 championship going on, plus T20 blast going on, as well as their domestic one day cricket is going on. So the pitches, I think, are worn out. So definitely it will help the two spinners, that is Jadeja and Ashwin. So it will be a good ploy to play these two spinners, so they can maximize their skills. And we should not forget that Ashwin has already taken 6 wicket haul when he played for Surrey at Kia Oval. So definitely he'll be raring to go.
Right. And if we look at the England squad, what kind of a playing 11 are we expecting, Pranav? Like we mentioned Tom Curran, but will they prefer to go with only fast bowlers, or do you see them playing a spinner in Jack Leach? They also have Dom Bess in the squad. And which batsman do you think they are going to play?
Yeah, talking about English bowling, at least Anderson Broad would be definitely fixed. Sam Curran would also be included because of his kind of similarity with Ben Stokes and record against India in English conditions. Fourth simmer would, as you said earlier, probably would be Mark Wood, at least for start. And yes, so they would also include the left arm spinner Jack Leach ahead of Tom Bess. Jack Leach was their bowler of the series when they came to India. And when it comes to batting, I think both the wicket keepers will be included. That is Butler and Johnny Bairstow. The rest everything is quite stable, but everything revolves around Joe Root, the English batting. So if we take Joe Root early, then we have a great chance to restrict England below 250.
And we have seen, so basically the playing 11, Pranav, you're saying Sibley and uh, Rory Burns to open, and
Yep.
then maybe
Yes, exactly.
Zach Crawley maybe at three, Zach Crawley or either
Lawrence.
Lawrence,
Yes,
and
yes.
then number four Root,
Root.
then Bairstow, and also
Correct.
we have
That's
Butler,
correct.
and then number seven. So you're saying Ollie Robbins, no, Ollie Pope will not be there. Ritwik, do you have any changes in this 11, or we keep the same?
Because just before this, I was reading some articles on Cricket Info. They were saying that they might not pay both of their wicket keepers, that is Bairstow and who is the other one? Bairstow
Butler.
Butler.
and Butler, and they might play Ollie Pope. But I'm not sure if Ollie Pope is 100% fit or not. So I hope if he's fit, because he's a pretty good batsman. So still, we're not sure what's their playing 11 would be, but I doubt that they'll play Ollie Robinson, because the last test match he played, he was pretty good with both bat and as well as the ball.
All right. So pretty much it seems that we have the same playing 11s, except maybe for a couple of changes here and there. Now, five test match series, Pranav, India usually doesn't play well in five test match series, or we can play a couple of test matches, but somehow the intensity level, it drops towards the fourth, fifth test match we have seen in the past. So this time, do you think that we can sustain and actually be competitive in all five test matches? And what is your prediction?
Yes, as you mentioned, the correct word competitive. We have to be competitive in each and every test match, not just one or two test matches out of five. And this time, nobody can actually give an excuse because we are almost 8 to 9 weeks in the English shores. So there is no issue of any conditions or any pitch variations or any other factors. So I expect India to be competitive in all the five test matches, and I'm hoping India would win at least two of them. I don't know whether England would win the remaining three or not. And I'm not quite getting any instinctive feeling about the series results. But I dearly want India to win two test matches. I'm okay if England wins three and India wins two. But I want India to win minimum of two test matches in this tour.
And Pranav and also Ritwik, Michael Vaughan has predicted that India will win 3-1. So is that a cause for worry, Ritwik? Because Michael Vaughan's predictions usually turn out to be not quite correct.
Right, definitely. Michael Vaughan is definitely India's enemy number one, at least on social media, because whatever he talks, he usually talks against India. So we should not take him very seriously. But as Pranav said, I agree with Pranav that India should at least try to win two test matches, because they are in England since the start of the June. But my only worry is that their lack of games, because even in the last practice match, Virat Kohli and Pujara didn't play. So, and all the England players, they are already busy in 100 as well as T20 Blast. So they had a lot of game time. But my only worry is that India had no game time apart from that one warm up match. So they are on. We can say that they are on holiday for past 6 to 7 weeks. In the in the normal world, apart from this pandemic, they should have at least played 2 to 3 warm up match. But in this pandemic times, it's not possible. So that's the only worry.
Yes, and I think Kohli and Rahane also did not play that
Yeah,
match. I think Pujara played. Rohit Sharma was the captain, and Rahul got a 100. But as you said, even a couple of bowlers I think did not play. So overall, apart from the match against New Zealand, that too it was a very sort of a strange kind of match. Start stop, one day totally washed out, then again. So it was a little bit messy. So we really haven't had great game time, but it's just pretty much the same for England, I would say. Even James Anderson was saying that the preparation has been different because of the pandemic situation and not really that much game time. So let's see. But what's your prediction, Ritwik?
My prediction is that 3-2 for England.
3-2 for England, and also Pranav says we should win two test matches, and we are not sure about the other three. There could be a draw if there is some rain factor coming in. Usually in the second half of the summer, there is less rain comparatively. So let's hope for a good series. Also, Ashwin and Jadeja, we are expecting them to play a major role with both bat and ball, and that is, I feel, going to be another key factor uh, in which way the in deciding which way the series goes. We will be doing a preview of every match, and of course during that preview we'll discuss the match which has happened before. So we'll meet now after the end of this first test match which is happening at Trent Bridge. Also to mention, Pranav, Ritwik, we have a good record at Trent Bridge.
yeah,
We 2002 we drew there, 2007 we won, I think in 2011 we lost, then 2014 again it was a draw, I think the first test match.
correct.
Then 2018 we actually won the test match there, third
Correct.
test of the series, and now so we have a pretty good record at this ground. Although last 8-10 years it has been seaming and swinging a lot with grass on the pitch. So let's see how it goes. Tomorrow is the first day of the match. Last question to both of you. Firstly, are we going to win the toss? And if we win the toss, are we going to bat first?
I think tomorrow we are going to win the toss, and we are going to bat first. We have to do that.
Ritwik?
I'll go with Pranav. Whatever he said, India should win the toss and they should bat and put runs on the board.
Right. So hoping, fingers crossed, hoping for a win of the toss, and also fingers crossed, hoping that tomorrow's both hockey matches are won by India. So good luck, Team India at the Olympics, and also good luck to Team India for the cricket match tomorrow. Do keep watching, subscribing, and I'll see you soon in the next video. Take care. Bye.